All right, welcome to the Deconstruction Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We are going to have a quick chat today and talk about impact, as has been the theme of the podcast to date. We're going to take you on a bit of a journey, talk about some life experience, some career experience, and really learn to appreciate kind of how people's backgrounds and their experiences lead them to where they get to in their careers, and kind of talk about what's next and what's on the horizon. So to kick things off, I'm going to ask you just to do the jam of talking about yourself. I know that can sometimes feel weird, but tell us a bit about you, what your inspiration is, what your background is, what you're currently doing for your day job, and how you are hoping to make an impact.
Sure. Well, that's a big question. But I'm Alysha Woodland, an environmental engineer. I'm a business owner. I'm a mum. And as of this year, I started playing AFL. So that's a little bit of a random little extra. I guess going back to the beginning, I was born in Yeppoon in central Queensland, spent my childhood between Yeppoon and a little village in the Highlands of Scotland. My mum is Scottish, so really amazing childhood, really outdoorsy kid, bit of a tomboy, loved the bushwalking, loved the camping, got my love of the environment through that. And my dad, who is an amazing, has amazing knowledge of plants and horticulture, and ran a junior land care group. So going through school, I always knew I wanted to work in the environmental protection in some way. Was great at the STEM subjects, didn't always love the maths side, but absolutely the science and the engineering. So my guidance counsellor at school recommended environmental engineering for a uni option. No idea what that was, even when I started my degree. But after 4 years at uni, I graduated with honours and started as a graduate environmental engineer in Department of Housing and Public Works. Had an amazing time there. Actually spent 9 years there before accepting a voluntary redundancy back in 2013. So I left as the principal environmental engineer at that time. Had my first child at that stage. I've got to remember all the dates and years, but still a bit of a blur. And then went into private industry for a little while. Left a role there to have my second child. And at that stage in 2014, I started my business. So I always knew during maternity leave that I didn't want to lose my identity as an environmental engineer, and in the industry, I just love being part of it and having some influence on projects. So I wanted to start my business to have the flexibility to work around the kids, and that was just an amazing opportunity for me with a really supportive husband with the steady income behind me, allowed me to do that. And then, so that was a sole trader at that time, and I took on some contract roles with Brisbane City Council, which is great opportunities and great team there in the planning environment unit. And I probably would have stayed there longer, except one day when I was pregnant with my third and final child, I went to Valley Metro car park just around the corner and had a nap in my car. So my husband was overseas traveling for work. My 1 and 3-year-old were in daycare. And I just the next day handed in my letter of resignation that was obviously not a sustainable, healthy path for me to be on. So then I thought, okay, I'll do my own business thing really seriously until my little one starts school, and then I'll get a real job again. So that was 6 years ago, and I never got a real job again. I love having my business, and it's really evolved in that time, and very grateful to be where I'm at.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I got kind of a similar experience leading up to kind of having children and setting up Helix wasn't something that I never fancied myself as any kind of entrepreneur or thought I'd ever own my own business. I was happy climbing the corporate ladder or whatever. But I think there's something that flicked for me after having kids where I was like, if I'm going to be giving up so much of my time with them to this career pursuit, I want it to count for something more, and I want it to feel like meaningful time away from my family. And I want to be able to explain to them when they're older, when mummy wasn't home, this is what mummy was doing, or this is what mummy was building, or this is the difference that mummy's been able to make in the world. My boys are twins. It's their 11th birthday tomorrow. So there's laser tag and bowling on the agenda. But I think that juggle and that, merging of home life and work life is a real reality for working women from all kinds of areas, especially in the construction industry. What about you, Morgan?
Yeah, I was probably similar. I didn't do a uni degree or anything like that. When I finished school, I went straight into employment. I did a traineeship and I worked in children's services. So I was much the same when I fell pregnant with my son. I was like, if I'm going to go back to work, it's not going to be to look after other people's children or, something that I want to actually be passionate about as well. So that's when I moved to Brisbane from Central Queensland as well and did my architecture degree. So that, definitely helped me as well, that when you're not at home, you're doing something that's passionate and meaningful, and it's something for the community as well. So when we design spaces for the community, we get to go back and use those spaces. We get to take our children there. That's something I really enjoy, especially once I moved to construction and working at Hutchies. You could take the kids and say, this was a shopping centre that I built. You could actually go and shop there. There's times that they had to come to a site as well. So a lot of the places they remember as well. So it's nice to be able to bring them along for that journey too, sometimes, I think.
You were saying before that kind of leading out of school and into university, the career path that you're on and the profession that you've gone into isn't something that you'd really contemplated. Is there advice that you would have for girls or women that are leading into making choices about their career and doors that were open for you or opportunities that you could possibly open their eyes to based on your experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that really helped me is during my senior years of high school, I did work experience. I think you'll find that if you approach a business or a council, they are so open to having interns throughout school holidays or around your school hours to expose you to a work environment. And I think getting that hands-on experience does really open your eyes and help you decide where you want to be and what you want to do. So that was really valuable for me. I think also don't feel the pressure that if you choose something, you're locked in. We can change our careers, change our study journey at any time. So if you choose something and realize it's not quite right for you, make a change. You need to be happy in your life, in your future. So, and always just be inquisitive, ask a lot of questions, get to know people out there in the industry that you're involved in, find a mentor. Yeah.
And then for those women as well, can you just give us a little bit of an insight as, if you put your job hat on and you're heading off for the day, what does a day actually look like? Like what kind of things fill your day, and what does someone in your role, both in your professional capacity but also in running the business, like what does your day look like?
Every day is different. So I guess I can describe a couple of days in my week. One day I might be heading out early onto a construction site to do an environmental toolbox talk for the contractor and do an environmental audit in my high vis and really see the projects being built on the ground and how we can help the contractors to manage their environmental risks. I love being on site. That's a big highlight of my week. But then I'm also a real nerd at heart and love writing reports. So I do a lot of behind the computer time, reviewing and writing reports. And then the business owner side of things is, as you'll know, a business owner generally has to wear many hats. So I might be meeting a client to scope a new project. I might be working on business development and marketing, financial side of things. So I've got a really great support network around me, but there's still many hats that I interchange throughout my week and throughout my day. But that's probably the key things. Oh, also, sometimes through NAR I go and speak at high school career fairs to represent women in construction and open, I guess, girls' eyes to that opportunity. So I love doing that. Yeah.
What do you think the benefits are to clients from engaging with you, especially early? I think from my background in social impact and anything that involves the community or the environment, those design stage things, there's some real benefits to engaging early, I think. What do your clients get out of engaging early?
It's so important. It's risk management 101. Engage an enviro early. We're not scary. We're not trying to put up roadblocks. We're just looking at flagging what are the environmental values of the site, how throughout the project design and construction, how can impacts be mitigated, what approvals do you need. If you don't flag and address these things early, they can have real impacts on the program and the budget and also the reputation of the client and contractor. So we love to be part of the team from even site acquisition stage right through to post-construction.
Yeah, wow. I didn't realize that you even go through to that operational phase of a building life cycle. So that's a kind of handover, I guess, from your client to the owner. And
yeah, that's right. And that's probably the stage where more managing emissions such as noise and air quality and waste management in that operational side of it.
yeah, wow. See, I wouldn't have thought that noise or air quality really fell under that either. I know a lot about like dewatering or things like that. Protecting our waterways and different things. But yeah, that's not something that I would have thought of either. So that's pretty good to know.
Yeah, there's many niches in the environmental consulting field.
Is there any exciting innovation that's coming through, like for the course of your career? New things that are happening that just blow your mind or that you're really excited about being involved with, or cutting edge kind of projects in your sector that you think are really exciting for the future?
There's so much happening. And to be honest, I'm probably not across it all. But in terms of sustainability in green building design, that is a really evolving space. Also, I get really excited about some of the water-sensitive urban design projects, like rewilding a concrete channel into a beautiful environment that the community can use and is better for the environment. There's just so much happening.
Yeah, lovely.
What's the most common issue, I guess, that you might run into?
Probably the times I feel really satisfied are when we have a client or someone calling in a panic that their project's been derailed because they didn't know about an environmental constraint or an approval, and we can really just step in and talk them through the process of how to resolve that and maintain compliance, and just sort of calm everyone down at times. And then I guess at the end of it all reiterate that talk to us earlier and this won't happen.
Yeah, I think that's probably a common theme as well for us in social impact, is that fear or is considered a risk, or where in reality by engaging a consultant you're really getting that budget on, like you're keeping your budget tight and you're staying on time and program as well by I guess identifying those issues early and putting things into place to mitigate those, instead of coming in at kind of at the later end and then trying to fix those things. If we do them up front, then we have far better outcomes and keep our projects on track.
Absolutely. And I think social responsibility and environmental responsibility go hand in hand. Both need to be really thought about all the way along.
And I think it's a good point that it's everyone's responsibility. I think similar to safety or quality that we talk about in the construction industry, and it's no different. It's everybody's responsibility, and we all want to have a great place to share with our children and our families down the line. So absolutely agree with those comments that you've made too before.
Yeah.
You mentioned your involvement with the National Association of Women in Construction, and that's an association that Morgan and I both have a really strong background with as well. In the early days of NAWIC in Queensland, I kind of feel like if I'd had as much energy now as I had back then, the difference that it would have made for Helix of my business would have been tremendous, because I was full of free time and enthusiasm in the early days of NAWIC, and I'm really proud of kind of the things that we were able to achieve and the legacy that that's left for what's happening now within the association. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background with the association and how important you think associations like that are, and if you think that they even still have a place? Have we still got work to do in that area, and is it still important to be able to see examples of women, doing the job that you want to do, or making the work and home work together? Do you think that there's still a role for associations?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. I actually only have been part of NAWIC for maybe 5 years, just starting off going to networking events and talks, and I've just found them so valuable that more recently I joined the Education and Mentoring Committee. I think just one of the main things they bring is inclusion. I guess I started going on construction sites 20 years ago. Was then, and most of the time now, still the only female. I now bring a confidence with me that I didn't back in the early days.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. And I just love to particularly support the up and coming women in construction, whether that be in a trade or an office environment, just to feel supported, and to have that confidence and network behind them, and also share skills. Yeah, so absolutely. I think organizations like NAWIC are so important. Yeah.
Do you have any big plans for the future? What does your next 12 months look like? We're heading into Christmas already, just about, and we're for 2026. So
I probably need a business plan update, but we are looking to grow. Construction in Brisbane right now is very exciting. There's so much on the agenda. Got a really fantastic network of subcontractors, and just working with them on some of those bigger projects, and developing those partnerships further, and getting Woodland Environmental out there a bit more. Yeah.
Do you have any plans for the Olympics? Do you think there's some probably some contracts you can contribute there?
I've been involved in some preliminary work at one of the locations, and certainly there's a lot of environmental constraints to be considered in the planning, and time's getting tight already. So certainly a lot of work for everyone in consulting in Brisbane. Yeah.
Exciting times, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially you're on the AFL as well now. Maybe you'll make it.
I don't think there's a Masters women's team going in, but
As far as the next chapter for your business and the work that you want to be doing, if there was like an ideal client that you'd like to work with, or where you see your business going, can you tell us a bit about where that's headed?
yeah, probably a boring answer, but I'm really happy with where we're at right now.
That's not boring. That's awesome.
That's good. We do a lot of work for government clients, so I love being part of that public and infrastructure that, like Morgan was saying, that we can share with our families. So that,
They've also got, because they're accountable to the community, the voting public, there's a lot more, we found anyway, openness towards setting a standard or thinking about environment, thinking about social impact, thinking about the engagement with the community. There's a real strategic and policy foundation for all of that kind of work. So I think that's a great space to be in, and a space where we really feel there's a potential to actually have a lot of impact, because, we do work with councils and with the government, the Queensland government as well. So the buying power or the spending that they do in the construction space is obviously one of the biggest spends going. And so that power that they have in the decision making about how things get built, who builds them, and what kind of lasting impact and legacy that money has, I think that's a real driving force behind building a better future for the people that work in the construction industry, but also the community that engages with the structures that the construction industry brings forward. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they've already got that built-in consideration of environmental and social impacts, whereas so I guess some of the fight's already done to engage us and talk to us. So but sometimes other clients are still on that journey towards seeing the value in non-generic, non-standard disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there a moment in your career where you kind of felt like you came to a crossroads, that things could have gone this way or they could have gone this way, and how you navigated that?
Yeah, well, I guess probably the key one was, would I stay in private consulting or would I run my own business? That was a really major crossroads. And obviously I'm still on the business path and plan to stay there. I just found it more, gave me that work-life balance that I needed, and a rounded out lifestyle of work, family, and health and well-being as well. So that was one of the crossroads. And then also being in the private industry, I was exposed to different niches in environmental management and engineering. And I did consider going down a path in contaminated land and becoming a specialist in there once I was exposed to some contam land projects. I love the chemistry side of things. But decided to stay as a generalist, is what I would be described as, someone who has a good base understanding across all of the environmental disciplines, and probably leaning into environmental planning. So I personally am really glad I stayed on that path and didn't put myself in a niche, but I absolutely value the people in those who I talk to very regularly that I get advice from. So yeah.
I find in our business, it's that kind of network of support that I rely upon, but also, great referral network and great pockets of people who are experts in what they do, because we're kind of like you. We've got a lane and we're staying in that lane, and we're not trying to be something that we're not. We're not trying to give advice about things that we don't know about. And so it's really important to us to have that kind of pocket of people in different areas that we know we can send our clients to, and that they're going to get, the same values, similar service. In your experience, is that something that you've built up over your entire career and you've got those connections in people? And is there any advice that you'd give about how to get that network together?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm beyond grateful for the network of other environmental and other discipline specialists that I have, that we refer work to each other, we partner on projects. And that has really built up from, I've got contacts from each workplace that I've been in, being 20 years working in environmental consulting in Brisbane, that it organically grows, and you just have to keep in touch with those people and find the right fit for you, people that value what you do and you value what they do and you work in the same way. And also just on staying in your lane, I think that's so critical for business, and it's tempting early on that if you're looking for work, you might take on something a little bit outside of your lane, outside of your comfort zone. But that's when you draw upon that network and and don't put yourself at risk by trying to take on something that's not in your area of expertise. But yeah, I would recommend to everybody to build that network. I am really grateful to have a close group of other women, female business owners in similar areas to me, such as town planning, ecology, landscape architecture. And we catch up every couple of months and talk business and talk projects. And it's usually over at Soak Bathhouse, soaking in our pool and having a long lunch. So
That sounds beautiful.
it's perfect.
And you've obviously built up a really solid reputation and your clients have a lot of trust and confidence in you. Is there any advice that you can give about how to build that up? Like I say to my team, obviously being excellent at what you do and striving to always do a good job of the work that's in front of you, it enhances your reputation and helps you to get your next job. Is there other things or other advice that you'd give that is reflective of how successful you've been in establishing a great reputation and keeping that consistency of clients and connections over your career?
Yeah, absolutely. Our business is mostly word of mouth and repeat clients, which I'm really proud of. I think it speaks a lot to how we operate.
Yeah.
I think number one is honesty. Sometimes we have to deliver advice that is not really what they want to hear. We don't sugarcoat that. It's factual. But then we work on solutions on how to work around that and how to still deliver the project. So honesty, being approachable and down to earth, and just maintaining those relationships. I'm always up for a coffee, maybe a wine, either or. Yeah, and don't take them for granted. There are a lot of other consultants out there. So I think valuing our clients as they value us is really important.
Couldn't agree more.
That's great advice. How did you find that transition from being a technical professional to being a business owner? I guess there's probably different skill sets involved in that. Did you have to go about doing specific training or did you just work it out as you went?
Yeah, a bit of both really. And look, to be honest, I probably floundered for a little bit there in the early days. But I'm also really lucky that I started as a sole trader, as I mentioned before, and I did build it up really slowly. Being on maternity leave when I started meant I wasn't leaving a full-time job, jumping into a full-time expectation of salary. So that was really lucky for me. But I mean, there's a lot of support out there for anyone wanting to run a business. I've got a great business coach who I really value. Again, that support network around me of like-minded professionals. And just get the expertise on board that you need. Try to take off some of those hats and hand them around to financial people, bookkeepers, just all of the support that you need. But I've certainly gone from running my whole business via one spreadsheet to having lots of tools and people around me.
Sustainable growth and
Yeah, that's right.
You were talking about the importance of engaging early on as a student. We've actually got a work experience student with us at the moment who's sitting in and listening to the podcast. So definitely we're very aligned in that philosophy of wanting to kind of pave a way and be able to set an example for the next generation that are coming through into the construction industry. Is there anything that you're, still seeing as a barrier for women, particularly who are coming into the construction industry? And if there was kind of one thing that you think everybody could do and that could have an impact, what might that be? Like, there must be one thing that you think could make a difference.
Oh, look, there's many.
Yeah.
But culturally, we just want to be treated the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
I think women and men should have equal opportunities, be equally accepted. And if you walk onto a construction site and everybody goes quiet, which happens quite often, I think everybody should take individual responsibility to just treat everybody equally. We don't want special treatment. We just want to be included.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect. I think basic respect, human rights is a good foundation to start when we deal with people, and to be interested and curious about people and what they bring to the table, because we're all experts in our own lane, and we need all those other people and all those other ideas to be able to be innovative and efficient. So I think that's a great start for everyone who has women in their business or women on their sites.
Absolutely.
Helix Impact has really only just kind of had its launch off this year, and I've been really grateful for Morgan's insight and her experience in the social impact space. So we've traditionally started out as a law firm 2016, and then have grown out our kind of consultancy and advisory services since that point. And coming into the evolution of Helix Impact, we have, I guess, an agenda of trying to make the spend in construction count for more. So we really believe that, the building's going to go up anyway, and you're going to engage. Why not think through, an extra level of environmental impact that your project might be able to have, or social impact that your project might be able to have, and that it's really not something to be scared of. It's not something that is going to add a huge cost to the bottom line of your projects. And sometimes it can be something that is like relatively simple and inexpensive and doesn't have to completely change the way that you propose to build or what your outcomes are, but can really have, even if it's a lasting impact for one person and one person's family, because you engaged an apprentice that, you push the limits to get that extra apprentice, or you brought someone into your supply chain who is of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander descent, or Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander owned and operated business. Just those small decisions about how you build and what you build and where you build can have a lasting impact. And I just would like your thoughts on, in the environmental space, if there's something that you've experienced where, it's one small thing, but it's had a lasting or enduring impact, or has the capacity to be a lasting or enduring impact.
Yeah. Look, probably the most simple example would be when we are given design plans and there's a blob on a page of where they plan to construct the building or the infrastructure, and looking at the environmental impacts that might have on a particular flora or fauna species, whereas a slight shift to that footprint can conserve that habitat and that value. So that's, just so important, and each little impact is cumulative. So I think people need to look at the big picture. And yeah, just a simple change like that can leave a really lasting impact on the environment.
Yeah. And we're sitting here in Bakery Lane in the laneway, which is the Helix little community that we're part of. And I'm really proud that there's a lot of family-owned or female-run businesses just in this laneway. We're sitting in front of Joy Restaurant, and Sarah from Joy. I am going there on the 23rd of this month, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And then there's Hannah at Dark Red, who runs the wine bar, because like you mentioned, Morgan and I are also partial to a sneaky wine after work in the laneway. And then, there's the coffee shop as well. And we're sitting here in front of Nug, which is a husband and wife duo that run Nug. And they're the most beautiful, wonderful people. And it's so rewarding for us to be part of this little community in the laneway. And over the course of the development of Helix, we've been in all different kind of community spaces. We've been in co-working space back in like 2016, and then when the WeWork revolution was happening, we were kind of on that bandwagon as well. But community's really always been important to us. What's the intersection between the work that you do from a professional perspective and the impact on community? You talked about the small change that can happen in relation to the wildlife or the particular environment that the construction project might be in. Is there like a connection that you feel, or that kind of interplay between community and environment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, across multiple aspects, we all want to be in beautiful spaces like this, that's a merge between environmental protection and development. That's where I really see where I fit in, making projects as green as they can be. And it's not just the flora and fauna, it's the air quality and noise as well, and the potential impacts on the community. So there's many, and waste management, for example. There's so many environmental matters to be managed so they don't have a negative impact on the community, as well as bringing the environment in as much as you can to a development to have it green and beautiful and a place where people want to be. And that's that intersection also with landscape architecture. Yeah.
Morgan mentioned the Olympics before. There's a bit of a panic going on that we haven't started really building much yet. The whole thinking out the impact of all the stuff that's going to be built for the Olympics on the environment. I know, there's a whole lot of discussion about Vic Park and the green space there, and the reduction of green space within the cityscape. Do you hold any concerns about the impact that the infrastructure for the Olympics might have on the green space?
Yeah, look, it's obviously a pretty contentious issue.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the legacy of green space is just so valuable. And I think the important decisions need to be around how will these facilities be used post-Olympics? Will they still provide value to the community? Can green spaces be reintroduced? Car parks, for example, can we have temporary infrastructure? I think just considering the future legacy is probably the key in that. I think the Olympics will be amazing for Brisbane, and obviously I'm excited about that happening. But yeah, there are obviously concerns about the loss of green space and natural areas through that.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about, or you'd like us to ask you about, or that you think is an important message that you'd like to get out there?
I think just as women in business and construction, let's keep supporting each other, and thank you to the male allies around us as well. I think we are doing great things, and don't be scared to have a chat with us about your projects.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're very similar to you and Morgan said on the social impact side, but also on the legal side. Like, we're always the scary monster that you don't really want to talk about, or you don't really want to have to engage with, because it means that there's a problem. But it doesn't always mean there's a problem. We can help with making sure that the project's set up for success as well. So I think there's a real connection, and everything that we do as far as the services that we offer the construction industry are very different, but our experiences of wanting to make an impact, wanting to be straight with clients, but also be part of the solution. And I don't agree with dropping the bomb, here's your problem, see you later, I'm going to duck for cover. We always want to go in with, okay, here's the facts straight of where things are at with your project, but this is what can be done to get it back on track, or this is the strategy that we've got to be able to bring you back on track and get things moving again, or to fix the issue that might have come up. So I found it really interesting, a lot of the things that you're saying, that even though we offer different services within the industry, our experiences as women in business, but also our experiences in the way that we want to deliver work and what's important to us are all very aligned and similar. So it's also, really encouraging for us as business people that there's people that are thinking the same way as us.
Likewise, absolutely.
I think it comes back to the nature of construction too. You have a small window at the front sometimes to plan these things, and then you're halfway through before you know it. But then the community is left with something for 20, 25 years. So I think it is a real privilege sometimes, the work that we do and the built environment. We do leave a legacy, so making sure it's a positive one is definitely something that I think we all agree on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you for being a guest on the Deconstruction Podcast. We really appreciate your time. We're really excited to see what you're going to do into the future, and really, really happy to have made a friend and a connection. And we'll 100% be beautiful cheerleaders for you and your business into the future, for having come across you and got to get to know you a little bit. And we wish you all the very best for the future. And I'm sure you're on to great things as you go forward in business. So congratulations and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and for your support. And it goes both ways. Absolutely. Lots of respect too, though.
Thanks for tuning in today. Before we wrap up, here's an important disclaimer. Everything we've discussed is for information purposes only and should not be considered personalised advice. Whether we touched on legal, financial, medical, about your specific situation before taking any action. Got any questions about today's episode or ideas for future topics? Reach out to the Helix team. We'd love to hear from you. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with someone who might benefit or connect with us on social media. Thanks for being part of our community, and we'll catch you next time.